Type 2 diabetes. Foods to avoid. If you have diabetes, you likely already know the grocery aisle can be a minefield. While a lot of foods seems like they are safe on the surface, that's not so much the case when your blood sugar needs to monitored closely. Even health foods that are rich in vitamins can be a danger when it comes to spiking blood sugar. So your best ally is knowledge to know what to avoid. While some of these are somewhat surprising and some really shouldn't be. Here are the foods that are bad for type 2 diabetes. Avoid alcohol. Healthline.com says that people with diabetes should be particularly cautious when it comes to alcohol consumption, as alcohol can make complications from the disease worse by impacting liver function, particularly its role in regulating blood sugar. The source also explains that alcohol can negatively interact with certain medications for diabetics. It suggests talking to your doctor about the best medication approach, even if you rarely drink alcoholic beverages. Cut out fatty meats. Health.com explains that because people with diabetes are at a higher risk of heart disease, they should try to avoid meats that are high in saturated fats, red meat in particular. The site also says you should try to avoid breaded or fried meats. Processed meats like packaged deli meat can be loaded with sodium. Should also be crossed off your list of safe foods to eat. It adds. Send packaged snacks packing. Everydayhealth.com explains that while packaged snacks are convenient when you are on the go, they often contain trans fat, which is considered the worst offender of the fat world because it increases levels of unhealthy cholesterol. These packaged snacks and baked goods such as chips, pretzels, donuts, and snack cakes often also hide away high levels of sugar, processed flour, sodium, and preservatives that are not diabetic diet friendly. The source says no amount of trans fats is safe when you are diabetic, but adds that products with less than 0.5 grams of it don't have to list it on their labels. So look for partially hydrogenated oils instead, which are a source of trans fat. Don't get burned by fried foods. It's hard to avoid fried foods. They are pretty much everywhere you turn in our fast-paced world. They are also unfortunately quite delicious. However, as everydayhealth.com warns, overdoing the greasy stuff can pack on the pounds and cause blood sugar chaos. Common fried foods include French fries, fried chicken, and potato chips. It adds. Keep in mind too that many of these items are deep fried in hydrogenated oils that are laden with unhealthy trans fats. Don't play nice with rice. While rice is an inexpensive way to fill your belly, Health.com says it's definitely not the best option for diabetics. However, the source actually focuses on how white rice is actually a diabetes risk rather than a food to avoid when you have already been diagnosed. It says the more white rice you eat, the higher your risk for developing type 2 diabetes, based on a 2012 review. The study showed that risk of diabetes increased 11% for each additional daily serving of white rice. Adds the source. Aim for brown or wild rice instead if don't want to give up this grain. Go stale on dried fruit. This is one that we are a bit surprised about. but according to everydayhealth.com, it's not good for those with type 2 diabetes. The source admits that dried fruit is a great source of fiber and nutrients, but notes the dehydration process removed the moisture, so you can end up overeating it. And just because it's a natural product doesn't mean it's safe to devour. While snacking on raisins or dried apricots is better for you than eating a cookie, it will still send your blood sugar soaring. Once the source. Stick with fresh fruit like strawberries and peaches. Fruit smoothies can be rough. This one is perhaps not as surprising. It can be a healthy way to get nutrients, but it can also be a sugary disaster if you have diabetes. Notes health.com. The source says that a 28-ounce fruit smoothie from a leading American smoothie company packs as much as 510 calories and 92 grams of carbohydrates. In short, they are full of sugar. Adds the source. It suggests making your own smoothie including vegetables like kale or low sugar fruits such as apples or berries. Get off the trail. Health.com also notes that trail mix is a bad path to go down if you are vulnerable to blood sugar spikes. It says that trail mix bought from the store contains dried fruit, which we have already said can be a wolf in sheep's clothing. In fact, only the nuts in trail mix are safe for diabetics, and only in moderation. If you are looking to mix it up, try making your own trail blend of seeds, nuts and almonds with small amounts of unsweetened coconut added in. Skim dairy from your diet. Everydayhealth.com says that full-fat dairy can raise your LDL or bad cholesterol levels and put strain on your heart due to the saturated fat content. However, heart problems aside, it says research has shown saturated fats can lead to problems with glucose levels in the blood. It says to avoid full-fat cream, full-fat yogurt, ice cream and cream cheese. See if you can find versions that have reduced fat or no fat at all. It adds, it's worth nothing that there is still some debate in this area, with some fairly recent prospective studies claiming that full-fat dairy might actually lower your risk of diabetes. Talk to your doctor or dietitian for the latest information. Watch your starch. The American Diabetes Association says that while some vegetables are high in vitamins, minerals and fiber, they can also be high in starch, which is not so good for those with type 2 diabetes because they can raise blood glucose. The best choices do not have added fats, sugar or sodium. It explains. The safest starchy veggies for diabetics to try, according to the source, include parsnips, plantains, potatoes, pumpkin, acorn and butternut squash, green peas and corn. Keep coffee simple. Health.com recognizes that coffee is no longer just coffee sometimes. There are so many fancy varieties out there, and many of them are loaded with extras like whipped cream and syrup that can turn your simple cup of coffee into a milkshake. For example, it says a 16-ounce frappuccino from a leading coffee chain can pile in 500 calories and 9 grams of fat. You may consider a treat such as this just coffee, but the blended versions can send blood glucose soaring. Once the source. If you are really into your designer coffee, at least try a smaller size or a light or non-fat version. It suggests. It helps if you are walking while drinking it, or go for a walk afterwards. Be discerning about desserts. We know that sugary foods like chocolate cake and other sweet stuff, including soda, can bring you temporary joy on a hard day, but the long term results may be detrimental to your overall health if you are diabetic. These items that are made of processed sugar are considered low quality carbohydrates, meaning they don't really offer much in the way of nutrition, while also spiking your blood sugar as though as it is to resist treats like this. The source says to get your sweet fix from fruits that have fiber to ease glucose absorption.